Hi everyone, I'm so happy that you're here to join me for the Way of the Animal podcast. So for today's podcast, we thought we'd talk about the placebo effect. We kind of started to talk about it a bit at the weekend because we were listening to someone else's podcast and it made you think about it. We stopped talking about it and decided to save it for a podcast. So Alastair's with me now to talk about placebo effect.
I think the placebo effect's quite an interesting thing because it's proven to happen. The placebo, we all know it is real. But how does it work? Like, it doesn't, because obviously, you do all these clinical trials and people on sugar pills and sometimes they get a placebo effect. And it's often seen as a negative thing. Oh, that's just a placebo effect. But
I think the medical world don't like it because they like to know that they're fixing someone physically and forgetting how important...
The placebo effect fixes them physically.
It fixes them physically, but I think it's a mental, emotional, energetic...
Fixing.
That fixes the physical. Well, it's like, yeah, I know. I'm not defending them. I'm saying that's why I think it's that way, because it can't really be explained very well. Yeah. It can be explained, but not very well, I would say. So
that was the thing that got me on to thinking about the placebo effect. Lecture I was listening to about critical thinking, and it was about the guy was talking about some rubber wristbands that people could get that had a holographic thing on them that was meant to give them energy, help with their energy levels throughout the day, their fitness. It had a whole list of things that it was meant to help with. And he talked about a trial they did on it. And they did a blind trial, so people couldn't tell if they were or were not wearing it. The people who knew they were wearing it had an effect. The people who didn't know they were wearing it didn't have an effect.
Did they do it without knowing either way?
Yeah, so the people didn't know.
Because you're saying they did know.
No, sorry, yes. They did a group of people who didn't know that they were wearing one, and they saw no effect. But they did a group of people who knew they were wearing one, and they saw an effect.
Okay.
So definitely a placebo effect. Now, the argument was made that then the bracelets were a whole bunch of hokum and no one wants them. It's not real. But it was making an effect. It was improving their energy levels. It was helping these people. So, why is that a negative?
Why do you feel it's a negative?
Oh, I don't feel it's a negative at all, but the wider world, and certainly the person who was giving the lecture, very much felt it was a negative.
I don't know. I can't speak for other people because I have a greater belief in the power of the mind and its ability to heal ourselves and help heal and lift, change the way other people are around us too. There's a lot more to that than I even know yet, but I do know how powerful the mind is because I work with my mind sometimes, and sometimes my mind works against me. So the placebo, it's like we've spoken about it before. I was speaking about it with the podcast with my friend Rhoda, and we were talking about how doctors can give a diagnosis but not a prognosis. Yep. And how when they give a prognosis, that can define how people are, like how people heal. Because they're told, oh, you've got 10 days to live,
Yeah,
they
that's
only
like
live
the
for
old
10.
witch doctor story. The witch doctor tells you you're going to die and you die.
Yeah. So then, the placebo... It's hard to put into words what I'm trying to say. It's that idea that we can affect ourselves and how we are physically by our mind or what we're believing, which
Yes.
we've spoken about before.
Yeah.
And actually, a side thought that we had about this was, I said, well, do you think placebo works with our animals? As in, if we think that what we're giving to the animal is going to make them feel better, do they feel better because of our power of our mind influencing their physicality?
So that's an interesting one, because obviously some things you give to them, like a doctor would say, they definitely have an effect.
Well,
like Metacam for
it's got to be
relief.
it's got to be measurable, because the other thing is you can make yourself believe that you're seeing improvements when you're not.
Well, you can
there's-
pick out seeing that, oh, they look freer there, they look better moving there,
Yeah.
and ignore that's the observational bias.
Yeah.
But no, it is an interesting thing, and how much of it is our perception of things when it's outside of our set, but even when it's in, when it's with us, how much is it just perception and how much is actually a physical change? That's quite an interesting side to it.
I mean, it's something that we've touched on a lot with a lot of the other topics, the power of your own beliefs, your perception, the stories that you tell yourself, all those things are linked to the mind, and, how your mental state is can affect your whole life.
Yes.
So it's just, thinking beyond that.
I'm just wondering what the definition of the placebo effect is. Because is the placebo effect, I'm thinking along the lines of hypnosis. Is hypnosis a placebo effect? Placebo effect is when a person's physical or mental health appears to improve after taking a placebo or dummy treatment.
Okay.
Placebo is Latin for I will please.
There you are.
For a treatment that appears to be real but is designed to have no therapeutic benefit. So that doesn't really answer it. So like hypnosis, you can get hypnosis for pain relief.
Because it's not taking a pill. So they specifically said it was like taking something.
Yeah. But then, like wearing those bracelets, is that
Okay.
I
think it's the idea
the
that
witch doctor telling you you're going to die and you dying. Is that a placebo effect?
No, I think the placebo effect is literally like a physical something that affects your physicality.
Okay.
So I think it has to be. I honestly I don't know, but I'm judging from what you read there from the definition that it's something you take or you wear or a specific like physical treatment that you have.
Yeah. So it's like taking a sugar pill.
Well, it's like, because there's been things where they've said that they've done an operation and not done the operation and the person's healed from the problem as well.
Yes.
That was in the Greg Braden books, I think.
I think it was. And didn't they cut them open? And they did a full cut them open, left a scar.
Yeah. But they didn't actually do the operation and they healed from it.
And so that's the placebo effect because they were doing something to them?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Because some people believe things like the energy healing that I do is just a placebo effect.
Yep.
In that I tell them that I've done a treatment and they now feel better.
And they feel better.
And they feel better. I tell them, that they're going to feel better, then they feel better.
Yeah.
But when that comes to I treat their animals, it's so their animal feels better. Now, then you get into the perception.
Yeah.
Does their animal actually feel better or,
Yeah.
But then, it's...
So here's one for you. Let's say, and I fully admit that I don't know enough about any of it to say one way or the other, but let's say energy healing is nothing but a placebo effect. Would that be detrimental to it? Would that make it less worthwhile?
Well, I think people then feel like you're selling them nothing.
But it has an effect.
Yeah, I know, but you know how people can be about
So that's the part of the placebo effect I find interesting, is that
they get upset that it's nothing, that
it's not real. Yeah,
but I think it's amazing, because I mean, part of the way I talk about things is you know, I begin the healing process and you heal yourself. It's like it's like
yes.
I just set your body into the physicality and energetic motion of completing a full healing cycle, whereas before it wasn't, you know. So it's like,
because you hear people have been in medical trials and they were in the placebo group. Well, they got better, but they're really angry they were in the placebo group. Yeah. Like, I think if I got better from something and found out then that I wasn't taking any drugs, I'd be more happy.
I think it's that idea of being open-minded to how powerful your own mind is, and, you know, being told in a way that very simply you could have just healed yourself all this time. Yeah. Can be...
But needing the trick to get past, and it's a little bit like we were talking about before, get past the critical thinking, get past your brain saying, this is just a sugar pill, this isn't going to help you. So once you get past that, your body is able to heal itself. Yeah. And I don't have an issue with needing to have that pantomime.
No, I it's just that I think it's like it's a mental response of almost anger that
you've been tricked.
No, that you had the answers all along, and you've spent all this time searching for the help that you need, and actually it turns out
you could have done it yourself.
You can do it yourself.
And then you're angry, so you project it onto...
Yeah, project it onto the whatever that's happened because it's...
That helped you.
Yeah, because it's, you know, it's like that thing, you know, you just feel it, it comes out. It doesn't actually...
Need to make sense.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I can't tell you because I'm not part of that, and I've not done it. Yeah. It's just a sort of outside look-in thought of, yeah, I could understand that could be why you'd feel that way. And I think a lot of the time people are looking for answers outside of themselves, me included. Yeah. I'm looking for the help, the saviour, and the answer is outside of me, and actually everything I need is inside of me, and then by listening to my internal guidance, I'll find anything outside of me that I need to know or find.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. Well, like, it's a hard pill to swallow every time I remind myself that it's inside of me after looking outside of me for, a while. Yeah. You know?
No, that's right.
We get so busy looking for the answers outside.
We do. Definitely. That's a whole different topic.
It is.
But yeah, the placebo effect, do you think it is just that thing that it just tricks your brain into... Like you say, like, because when you do an energy healing, you sort of gear their body up to start healing itself. So do you think the placebo effect is kind of doing that step? It's just getting their subconscious into the, okay, now you can start healing.
I think beyond that, it changes the belief about themselves.
Ooh, yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, because the belief that I'm sick, I can't heal, I'm always going to be ill. Yeah. To, hey, here's my miracle cure.
Here's this wonder drug. Here you go, have a Smartie.
And now I'm getting better and I'm healing. Yeah. So it's that whole thing, like I said, you're looking for the answers outside of you, but if you can change the beliefs inside of you, then you can change. So it's always like, does that... Occasionally it comes up on my social media as the meme thing. It's, oh gosh, my mind's gone blank.
It's what I was thinking is, it's very Star Wars-y. It's the, you just have to believe. It's definitely...
Oh yes, it's the meme. Got it. The meme is, well, it's not even a meme, but it's, my grandmother always said, you don't say I'm sick, you say you're healing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because you say you're sick, you're stuck being sick.
Yeah, you say you're
You say
healing.
you're healing.
You're healing.
You're healing.
Okay, I like that.
So it's like the belief that you
It's the belief, it's the perspective, it's the way of looking at it, that it's not
creating a new story.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's
story.
just really,
all this brings together.
Placebo, even if we're not really talking about it that much, but we are, this is bringing in a lot of our different podcasts about all the different things we've talked about together, and really seeing how much just the simple beliefs, stories. And so that's the difference, is you take the sugar pill and I now believe that I'm getting better because... Well, you're told by... The doctors told me. And that's the thing, is like...
Someone in authority.
Yes, someone in authority, someone we give our power away to, is telling us that this will heal us. We trust them, we heal.
We believe them, we heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the extra interesting thing with that is, I wonder how much we could heal without, like, do you think in the past people were better or worse at this?
I think,
it's like, I wonder when the placebo effect was discovered.
Well, I think, I don't know when it was discovered, but you think about witches and the medicine women, the medicine men, all that, like, there's always been people with the herbal remedies. This will make you feel better.
Yeah. And you always read those stories that they give them things that, don't do anything. I can't remember.
Well, no, but do they? So scientifically, is that you saying that scientifically, or did the medicine people...
I can't remember. I read it in a book, and the medicine woman was giving this person a treatment and made them do it for a long time. And it was this vile tasting thing. And it was very much about making them believe they were getting better. And kind of stopping them from being a pest.
Isn't it funny, though, that quite often to feel better, it has to be a challenge?
Yeah, so that was it. I think that was part of it, was that you have to drink this horrible tasting tea for a week before you'll feel better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's always funny, because it has to be something more challenging, because to us, like, we've been so sick for so long, it can't be that simple.
Yeah.
And that can make people very angry.
That it was simple.
That it was simple, or they can't get the simple treatment because it's out with their ability for whatever reason as well.
Yes.
You see that a lot. And I think that, it's very challenging. So then we go back to placebo effect, and I just think it's how we heal ourselves is really directly linked to the power of our own belief.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the placebo effect is a lot to do with belief, and it's interesting how people deal with that.
Well, it's like, what came to me there was Bruce Lipton talks about it, doesn't he? Because he talks about it in with our genes.
Yeah.
It's like you can have the cancer gene, like they have the breast cancer gene that they look out for in the daughters of females that have had it.
Yeah.
And then, they find that gene, you're going to get it.
And then they get it.
But they get it because they're told they're going to get it. And Bruce Lipton's thing is, no, it's the power of your belief. Like, yes, that gene's there, but it takes something to trigger it. Whether that's the power of your own mind, or, sometimes it can be something else. But
it's very much that thing. If a doctor tells you, you've got the gene for breast cancer, and you will develop it later in life, so we'll just need to keep an eye on whatever they say. So then your subconscious and your belief is, I'm going to get breast cancer. This is going to happen to me. So then your body is telling that gene, it's time to turn it on. Let's get going.
Exactly.
This is what they're wanting.
It's that whole thing, is like, doctors, they know a lot and they're very useful. And I've spoken about this in Rhoda's podcast, but it's understanding that the language they use and the sort of prognoses and the way that they bring them forward can be very limiting and very dangerous to people. Because people also have this idea that doctors are people of authority and give their power away. And yes, they know a lot more than we do medically about our physical body, but they call it a lot systems. You know, they're still talking about the physical human body like it's a computer program that only runs a certain way. You know, and I think as time is going on now, you know, with quantum science and everything else that's going on, I think the physicality of the human body connected with its energy and our mind, there's so much more to us as beings than it's been realized.
Medicine, you know, it started out with witch doctors and, you know, medicine men and what have you. And then it went to science and the body is a machine. And this is how the machine works. And that's fine. That's definitely partly true. It's good to know how we respire and but it's not the whole story. And that's definitely where the problem comes in, is when you think it's the whole story.
It's understanding that you can change anything within yourself.
Definitely.
By looking at your beliefs and how you're living.
The doctor's prognosis is an interesting one, because I know when I had my operation on my knee when I was 24, so something like 15 years ago, and one of the things, I had a posterior cruciate ligament torn, I had it replaced, and the story I was told was, you will have pain in the knee for the rest of your life.
And I spoke about this in Rhoda's podcast as well, because we did touch on this subject, and it was just like, no doctor should ever say that.
That is a negative placebo effect.
Yeah.
That is telling me.
It's creating a belief and a story within you from a person of authority. So it's just like, I think one of the things that I feel that everyone should do now is no matter who says what to you, question everything. And by question everything, I don't mean say, or why or how. I mean more like question it through your own belief system. Question it through your own feeling about yourself. Like, that's what you're going into, is questioning through your own body and being everything that you are told, especially if you're told it about yourself. Because when it comes down to it, it's the same with your own animals. Is by your own animals, I mean the animals that you have in your life, is that only you know your animal or yourself the best.
100%.
And no one can really get a snapshot of you or your animal and be 100% right about what they think is right. And, you know, we're proven a million times over in a million different situations where people have said, well, it's this, and then it's clearly not. I mean, you just have to watch House. If you remember House, when he had all those complicated things going on with people and they had no idea, and they would just go from one guess to the next until they found the answer. And, you know, that's a little bit what a lot of those things are. And even you'll do it yourself. Well, why is this happening to me? And you'll go through, you know, it's like me. I've figured out finally, like, some of my struggles with my mental health is actually related to my nervous system and a real dysfunction and lack of regulation of my own nervous system. So now I'm on a journey of healing, of understanding that, and learning how to regulate myself and help myself to work in the way that is I'm designed to, instead of getting stuck in sort of dysfunctional ways.
It's interesting how the placebo effect plays on our beliefs, which then changes everything about us. And the power of belief is just crazy.
It's wonderful. But if you get on the wrong side of it and start believing the wrong things, it's dangerous, because it can affect you physically with your own health. And it's just not fun sometimes too.
It's very, very true.
And, you know, you just have to watch the stories you're creating and watch what you're saying to yourself about yourself. It's that thing, you know, if you say to yourself, God, I look so fat and I'm so fat, you will remain fat.
And that gives you the negative bias.
So if you've got to look at yourself and just be like, well, I'm slender and fit, you know,
Yeah.
or I'm getting fitter, you know. It's got to be believable enough that you can take on that story and feel it within yourself.
Yeah, it has to get
you can't
past
say,
your
"Oh, well, I'm
critical
thin."
mind.
Yeah, you're gonna say, "Oh, I'm thin," and you've been telling yourself you're fat the whole time. That's not gonna change that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I can't look in the mirror and say I look like Chris Hemsworth.
No, apparently not.
But yeah, it is. The placebo effect comes down to the power of belief. And what you believe ultimately ends up being the truth.
Yeah, because there's a placebo, and now I'm just remembering there's a placebo and the nocebo, isn't there?
Oh.
Who was it that spoke about that? I might have to research some of that, and we'll maybe have to reapproach this at another
definitely.
time. Trying to think who spoke about that.
It's interesting when you start getting into, like, I find the mind and the way the mind works fascinating, because when you start asking some fairly simple questions, it really starts to get you, or it gets me thinking about what you believe, what you see, what you perceive. Because where was it? I read it. I can't remember. I read it somewhere, and it was just kind of a throwaway passage. But like, how do you know that the person sitting next to you is real? And when you start...
How do you know that anything's real?
Well, that's it.
But then we have that whole thing that we physically, we think everything's solid when it's not. Because, like, of course...
Yeah, but, like, I reach out and touch you, and my brain tells me that I'm touching something. So I'm perceiving that I'm touching something. So there's no way for me to know that you're real. That you're not just a victim of my imagination.
I'm a victim of your imagination.
A figment of my imagination.
Sure.
And it's like, I mean, this must be what it feels like to be insane. But,
Why?
well, because what's real?
Well, I think, and that's the hard, and that's where you go into the realms of you create your own reality. So what's real is what you create.
Yeah.
So then you go back to, it's like, it's some sort of loop, because we keep going back to, it's your beliefs, the stories you create is how you live your life.
Yeah.
And so then, you know, whether you're taking a placebo or whatever, you know, it's more your perception, your belief, and your story you create about whatever is happening.
Yes.
That changes whatever is going on with you.
It's fascinating. Like,
It is.
the ability that we have to mess with our reality.
And that we get into the habit of letting
Other people do it.
other people do it, or sort of just believing that things happen to us.
Yeah.
And not
for
creating.
us.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, it's that same sort of thing. It's when people put you down and call you names, like even at school and stuff like that.
Or the, you know, as you're older, it's always gossip and drama. And it's like, drama's a waste of time. There's just no point in...
No, there is no point in drama whatsoever.
And there's no point in even worrying about the perception that other people have of you and the drama.
But that's the thing, though. The perception other people have of you and the things they tell you about yourself, the negative things they say to you, if you take them on board, they have the same sort of placebo effect of... changing.
That'd probably be a nocebo.
Maybe.
Because it's a negative effect.
Okay,
I wonder if nocebo is... I'm going to have to look that up.
You will have
but
to.
It's like creating a negative effect on...
And then it actually has that effect on you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's crazy. That's it. Get your phone out and look it up.
I'm going to have to look up nocebo now.
I think it's just crazy to think the amount of things we can change about ourselves.
There you are. A nocebo effect is said to occur when negative expectations of the patients regarding a treatment cause the treatment to have a more negative effect than it otherwise would have. So we took it beyond treatment because as well as we've kind of taken placebo and nocebo to sort of grander, wider, not even
it's
grander.
It's the same
but
thing.
But
like,
yeah.
Whether you're getting given a sugar pill or you're someone saying something
it's exactly what we said. So nocebo is that negative effect that other people's perception.
It's interesting though, because listening to your definition, it sounds very much like I'm giving you something that will help you, but you believe you're going to have these side effects. And
yes. Yeah.
you may have these but that's the thing. Whenever you look at a drug, there's a huge list of side effects.
And then you take more drugs to counteract the side effects.
That's true. But
and then
you listen to the side effects, it sounds like there's a million. I honestly believe that if you actually sit and read those, you probably would get some of them.
Well, it's the worst thing is they'll tell you like the couple of main ones.
Yeah.
And then for me, when my mind is weak, is I'll sit and think, oh, am I having that side effect?
And you know for a fact you can cause that sort of effect,
and
like feeling sick or something like that.
And then I worry because then, the treatment's to help heal me, and then I won't be able to take it because I'm having the side effect. It's just like, whoo!
Brain explodes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's just the part. Whereas if they just gave me a sugar pill and there'll be no side effects, you'll be great, I'd probably just heal and not...
Yeah, that's it, yeah. But then... it's very hard to... Well, I don't know why it's hard. I don't know why that's not a standard thing. Why isn't it a standard thing that we know for this list of things, a placebo will work real well? Not for everyone, but it'll work for most people. So, here you go. Here's your placebo.
Because, it is more uncharted territory.
It is.
Because I think... I think there are places now that are doing, different treatments.
Yeah.
So they're perhaps even on the treatment, but they have, a therapist that is helping change their mentality about whether they do that privately or whether they do it with, their doctor, whatever. And, you see it a lot with the cancer, people with cancer is when they have a therapist that's helping them through it and changing their beliefs and helping them to release any traumas that connected
helps
to
much better.
They tend to heal. So, I think in the same way the placebo could be more of a struggle if you've got that deep set trauma of belief behind it that you won't heal. It's kind of more of a struggle, but it just shows you how much there's a greater rounded treatment option, and I think it's becoming more mainstream.
Yes, I think it is. I suppose there's probably an issue with the doctor telling you, here's your pill, and just lying straight to your face.
Yes, well, yeah. Obviously that's...
because you don't really want your doctor lying to you.
No. That's kind of... it's a whole other...
But if he's giving you a placebo and it's going to help you if he lies to you, then...
Yeah, I just don't think they're handing out placebos quite like that.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's
But that's where I'm saying, if you are having other treatments, someone who is helping you with your own beliefs about your healing and yourself and your treatments is going to be hugely beneficial. If the placebo is something that works, then having that combined with whatever else you're doing,
just helps.
Yeah, because we know the power of our beliefs.
Yeah.
Wow, really interesting topic.
It is an interesting topic, and I feel like we went round and round and round and didn't really get anywhere with it. But
is there anywhere to get, or is it just a discussion?
It's just more of just a discussion about it. But it is, the placebo effect is a really interesting thing, and for me, people's mentalities around the placebo effect, I think, is quite interesting.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for an interesting conversation.
It's roasting this evening. We're sitting here melting.
It's down to 29 degrees, it's fine.
Oh, it's 29 in the house. Lovely.